Hi guys, my name is Emily D. Simone with the Garden State Film Festival, and here with me today I have Braden Kimball, Johnny Mancini, Ramon Martinez, and Gianna Califano. How are you guys all doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Great. So, Braden, you directed and wrote Stratosphere. Would you like to start out by telling our live viewers a bit about the film?
Yeah, totally. So the film is about a soldier in the future who's getting dropped onto a distant planet, and she's been given this new crew, and she's trying to keep them all alive as these various things sort of go wrong on their journey down. So.
Okay, and so what inspired your writing for this film?
So it was a combination of things. One of them was I just had this very distinct sort of image in my head of these sort of streaks heading towards a planet, and I was working on a couple stories at the time, and they kind of just blended the two together, kind of seeing how they would fit. And there were a couple thematic things that I was working on in this other script, and I sort of blended the two together. And then Gianna, she was someone who I had spoken to in the past for a different role for a film that I was developing, and that didn't turn out, but I kept on like imagining her as the lead. And so I was like writing this, and as it was developing, I kept on seeing her, and the story just kind of, came out naturally then from there.
That's awesome. And Brandon, to my understanding, you produced Stratosphere?
Ramon produced.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh,
Ramon?
no worries, no worries. Yes, that is correct. I did produce Stratosphere, and working together closely with Brady. He also talked about his vision for the story. Talked about taking inspiration from a couple of video games and also a couple of space movies. And yeah, it was a lot of fun getting a crew together that could work in the visual effects front or on the camera like Johnny, or in front of the camera like Gianna.
And Johnny, you are the director of photography.
Yeah, I think Brady talked to me about doing this film like a year and a half before we actually shot it. So we were planning it for a pretty long time. I mean, we didn't get into like really planning it heavy until maybe 6 months before we actually shot, but it was a lot of planning for just 3 days of shooting. So it was super fast paced, and we had a lot of gear to keep track of. But yeah, it was super fun.
How is it that all four of you came together? Like, how did you come to find each other?
So we were in the graduate program, Ramon, Johnny, and I at Chapman University, and so this was part of that program. And I'd always wanted to work with Johnny, and we had worked together before on this smaller exercise, and I knew his sensibilities would fit well with how I wanted to shoot this film. And then Ramon, I had just recently met, and we had actually met remotely initially, and so we had started talking about the story a bit. And he in all his kindness agreed to like take a shot on me and work with me on it. And that was great. And then, like I said, with Gianna, like I'd met her previously in an audition for a different film, and I always just imagined her as the lead for this project. So I reached out to her. It was during the pandemic when this was sort of pre-production was starting and everything, and so she was totally down to come back and star in this.
So you were all graduate students with Chapman University?
Johnny, Ramon, and I.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you all graduated?
Yeah,
we have now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So with that said, is this like your first work out of college?
So this was it was a little different. So we were staggered in years, but this was my second real project. Johnny, I'm not sure, Johnny, you can on yours, but yeah, this was my second real project. And so it was like a really big undertaking, and I was just like very lucky to have such a supportive and creative cast and crew getting my back on it. So
that's amazing. And how is it that you guys came to find the Garden State Film Festival?
So previously, there's another student who we knew. He had attended it and had a film in it a year ago, and so I talked to him, And it was another thing where like faculty had recommended it to us, and we heard it was a lot of fun. We heard that there were a lot of quality films in it, and so that's what led us to it.
I would love to know about like how the four of you, like how all of your backgrounds are, whether it be prior to school and what led you into this. So Gianna, I know that you weren't a part of the program. You're located, I'm assuming, in LA as well?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so what brought you out there?
To LA? Well, I'm actually from here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from here. So I grew up in Palos Verdes, San Pedro area, which is actually probably like 45 minutes from where they all went to school. So yeah, I've been in the area for a while.
Okay, and you got into acting.
Yeah, I always wanted to do it, but I actually went to school for marketing. Okay. And I had a whole kind of career as a buyer for a fashion company, and then I actually went and worked at Amazon Studios for a little bit in marketing. So I got to kind of understand the business side of film while I was studying. I took it so many different places in LA. Like there's so many schools here to study from. So I was kind of doing it at the same time.
That's awesome. So are you still working in marketing
and no
full time?
Yeah, full time.
Awesome. Well, congrats on getting to do what you love.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So I guess I'll start with Ramon. What got you into producing, and what is your background in producing?
Yeah. Well, I started a little bit ways before in my undergrad program doing some documentary film work, basic editing. Then I went back home to Puerto Rico and I did some physical film production and some post-production PA work where, I really got to see like boots on the ground filmmaking. So a lot of my producing work comes from understanding everything that goes on set, just not only from my experiences, but also from the various types of productions I've worked with, both local and American productions that have visited us. And that led me to, work together really well with Brady because we really wanted to have something that was really efficient for Stratosphere, considering all the moving parts just to create this.
And do you and how is it that for you, this project, what was, as a producer, an obstacle that you might have run into that you've learned from with this project?
Yeah. A lot of projects that I've worked with, tend to use special effects, visual effects, and a lot of the problems that they run into later on in post, which is something that brings a lot of problems for the final product, is something that we wanted to avoid. And so we just over planned for everything. We would have weekly meetings for one department, bi-weekly meetings for every department, doing everything possible to just make sure that everyone's on the same page about how we're going to use certain visual effects, especially considering you're using a huge TV, to put it in simple terms, to project the background.
That's really cool. I mean, do you have anything that you're looking at now that you want to master with production? Something that you're working on?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't been working on anything new, but I would love to keep working with virtual production. I think that it's like a great new tool in the film industry that is really pushing what's possible on screen. Learning how to work with both VFX artists that bring together that image to life, and also with the people in front of behind the camera that are making it very believable. That's a skill that I think all of us would love to master.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm not a producer, so it's really cool to get to listen to you talk about that. So Johnny, can you talk a bit about your background in cinematography, director of photography, and whatnot?
Yeah. Well, I guess I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker since I was a kid. I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And then I ended up going to college in Colorado, getting a film studies degree. And then I don't know at what point I decided to move to California, but I knew I wanted to get my master's. And then I ended up at the same school with all these guys, and it was definitely a great decision. But Yeah, and I work mostly in like music videos and things like that, but science fiction is definitely my favorite thing. So getting to do this with Brady and everybody was an awesome experience.
And what would you say, yourself, if there was anything that you ran into with this project that, has made you a stronger cinematographer?
Definitely working with virtual production was crazy and a really good experience. I mean, we had so much to shoot and so little time that I think we almost gave Ramon a heart attack. A couple times, yeah. I mean, I think what really helped us out, like having a schedule like that, I'd never done anything like that. No experience beyond our camera testing we did beforehand. No experience with virtual production. Um, and so, I don't know, I think the preparation really made everything. Like we were preparing for so long. We did so many tests. We even like shot an Arri Alexa with a fire extinguisher just to see what it would look like. Covered in plastic, not just at the camera. But we did everything you could think of. We threw rocks at it. We, things we didn't even get to do on the virtual production stage because it turned out we weren't even allowed to. But just exhausting every possible option was, and then seeing that work was really special because I saw what preparation does. I'm used to just going into things and shooting them, but seeing that really helps and what it can make is really cool.
Thank you so much for sharing. So Braden, I'll let you lead into this. Like, when did you guys end up filming this?
So it was late summer of 2021 is when we filmed it, did principal photography, and then just the way that scheduling worked out, and we had other projects that we had to do, post-production took longer than anticipated going into 2022. So we didn't actually really truly finish the film until, at some point, last year, like mid last year, around there. So yeah, it was a sort of a long process, but I think that part of it is, like John was saying, like we had planned so much, we had so much footage. There's a lot to do in editing. There's a lot of sound to do. It's very sound design heavy film, to just really sell the world and the environment that, we're trying to create. And so, we definitely wanted to take our time being able to put all these elements together in post-production as well, just to make sure that we were marrying all the, planning and hard work that we did in production, and then giving equal time to post, just to really try and sell what we were doing. Because another aspect of it is like we're ultimately very low budget for the scale and the scope that we were trying to achieve, and so we were lucky to just be able to have that flexibility sort of on the back end to really get it right in post and finish the film.
Did you run into, because you're saying you were filming this in late summer of 2021, what issues with COVID did you end up running into that, either made things different or caused, any obstacles that you had to work through?
Yeah, so there were a ton, and a lot of it too was obviously like we wanted everyone to be safe, everyone to be comfortable. We didn't want them to be getting sick. There's a lot of testing that had to be done before we could arrive on set. There was a very low crew cap, which was maybe one of the most challenging things. That like we could only have, it was like, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, like 12 people or something like that on set at any given time. And of course we were shooting, like the whole film was shot on a stage, and so it's very close proximity with everyone, and so we had to have masks and face shields and disinfect the equipment on sort of like a scheduled timetable. So yeah, it made it very challenging to all of the things that are already challenging with production, then on top of that having to worry about testing, people getting sick or not sick, trying to keep everyone safe, making sure everyone is distanced to the greatest extent possible. So yeah, it was a lot.
I know you said earlier, like a bit prior to the interview, that you guys were working to see if you would be able to come to the Garden State Film Festival. So if not, I really appreciate the time that you guys took with me today to talk about this. But if for whatever reason you guys do get to make it, it would be really cool to meet you all in person. So thank you guys so much for joining with me today and answering a couple of my questions. And I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. And, you guys, you can all see Stratosphere on Saturday, March 25th at the Kingsley Ballroom from 5:45 to 8 p.m. Again, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend and, well, I guess a great rest of your day because it's morning in LA now.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good one. Take care.